for 5
Thank you,
years.
Mr. Chairman. As we're going to hear from the next panel, tribal co-management on public lands is a top priority for many tribal nations across the nation. I hear about it from many of them, and it raises important questions about how the federal government can better engage with tribes as true partners in land stewardship. Of course, at a minimum, that starts with being fully committed to meaningful consultation and upholding federal trust responsibilities when it comes to managing lands. And, you know, it would make no sense to enter into some contracts for a tribe to build a mill or cut some trees, but then separately greenlight a mining project that would pollute their water or desecrate their sacred sites. And so, Mr. Deputy Chief, I just want to ask you if this administration is truly committed to protecting sacred sites and preserving cultural resources on our public lands, and if so, how is the Forest Service working to honor that commitment?
Thank you for the question. So the Forest Service honors that commitment by making sure that we provide opportunities for tribal consultation. And I would say meaningful consultation with tribes on any of the projects that we would implement. And at the same time, the Forest Service has a multiple use mission. And that multiple use mission includes the opportunity for extractive opportunities through mining and timber, and as long as the water resources are protected.
Have you reviewed the Republican reconciliation bill that was marked up in this committee a couple weeks ago?
I have not had the opportunity to review that bill.
Well, sir, I suggest that you do, because it stands at odds with what you just said. There are several authorities in there where tribal consultation is simply missing on critical projects that could profoundly impact tribes. And I would think that if you were true to that commitment of upholding your trust responsibility and having meaningful consultation, you would want to offer some very critical feedback of that legislation before it gets too far down the road. Can you speak to the limitations that the Forest Service has in carrying out co-stewardship and co-management agreements, and whether there are some additional legal authorities or resources that you might need to do that?
So I don't have a list of limitations that come to mind. I do know over the past several years, we've had several opportunities to expand our tribal co-stewardship work with tribes. We invested significant amounts of funding to be able to do that work, and generated a lot of interest from tribes in setting up co-stewardship projects.
All right. I want to ask about the concerns that many of us have about these budget cuts and workforce actions that are severely undermining core capacities across a number of federal agencies. But in your agency, sir, tribal relations specialists were reportedly among those terminated in mass layoffs. These specialists play a key role in spotlighting tribal priorities and ensuring that tribal perspectives are integrated across the agency's work. It seems to me that those are essential positions if we're going to be serious about tribal co-management and self-determination and the things that we're talking about here today. So I want to ask if any of these positions have been reinstated or filled, and if not, how does the Forest Service intend to restore them, or will they simply be left vacant?
So in our tribal organization, we didn't have any terminations of tribal positions. We did have some individuals who took the voluntary opportunities and departed the agency, but we still have an Office of Tribal Relations, and we're still planning to uphold their trust responsibilities and not diminish tribal sovereignty.
Okay, in the time I have left, while I have you, I met with the chief last week, and he explained that we've been expressing concerns about a lot of the departures of fire support personnel as we head into fire season. And he explained that some new financial incentives have been put in place to try to temporarily bring some of those people back out of retirement to get us through this next fire season. Have you done any analysis of how much that's going to cost, what the uptake is going to be by these folks who in some cases have surely moved on and gotten other jobs? What can you tell us about whether that is going to solve the problem as we head into fire season?
Yeah, so we did do an evaluation of employees who have left the agency. I will say we had certain exemptions, and fire was one of the category of employees who were exempted. which means that we ask them to stay on in their position. But for those employees that left, we're analyzing what the impacts of that departure will be, but we don't have the final results of that just yet.
So you don't have the price tag for luring them back, and you don't have an estimate of how many would actually take that deal and come back to get us through fire season?
We don't.
Thank you, sir. Yield back.
Gentlemen,